inspiring you to set the marketplace ablaze in partnership with an awesome and limitless God. This is the Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur Podcast, and this isn't business as usual. Here's your host and Chief Fire Igniter, Shay Bynes.
Welcome back to the Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur Podcast. This is your host, Shay Bynes, and our goal here is to inspire you to operate your business completely yielded and in partnership with our awesome and limitless God. This episode is such a fun one for me personally because it is the result of a totally Holy Spirit-led interruption, or what I like to call a Jehovah sneaky moment. Today's guest is Samone Lett. She's a personal chef and the owner of Red Door Events. You may have seen her compete on the shows Cooks versus Cons or on Food Network Stars a few years ago. Now, I've had 2 different interviews with Samone over the past year, and you'll never actually hear the first one because I never released it. Because God set Samone up in the most beautiful way during that interview, which led to the beginning of a grace over grind shift, a grace over grind lifestyle in her work. Now, you'll hear more about that in today's episode. Now, I want to make sure that you listen to the entire episode because after my chat with Samone, I wrap things up by sharing an update on some things that have happened with Samone and her business. I share some additional insights and tell you all about a special Grace Over Grind sales bundle that we've put together to help you to grow in doing business by the infinite power of God's grace. So let's go ahead and get started with today's conversation with Samone Lett. Listen in and enjoy. Samone Lett, how are you, my dear?
I'm good. Woo, yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be a really interesting podcast because something happened with you and I that I've never done on the podcast before.
Oh.
This was, you and I had a podcast interview set. I met you because one of our igniters in the mentoring program told me all about you. We connected and I interviewed you. Mm-hmm. But during the interview, I was having this conversation with you about grace over grind. Like I was just hearing a whole lot of grind in your story. And instead of just having the conversation with you like I would normally have with the podcast guest, I ended up having this conversation with you and then sending you a message after the podcast and said, listen, what's your address? Because I'm shipping you a book called Grace Over Grind, How Grace Will Take Your Business Where Grinding Can. I'm going to bless you with it. But all I ask is that you read it and that you do all the exercises in it and you circle back with me and let me know what God did. That was the arrangement, right?
Yep.
Okay. So this is going to be so fun. So first, we'll start this conversation by you sharing what you currently do in business. And then we're going to kind of backtrack and talk about some of the cool stuff that happened and some of these shifts with you moving in His grace.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm a chef. I have a catering company. I had the catering company for 16 years. 16 years doing this, grinding it out, thinking, God's there. He's there. He's helping a sister. And so we moved from Orlando to Atlanta. And that's when things began a little topsy-turvy, which I thought they were topsy-turvy when we were in Orlando. And so we're here in Atlanta. I wasn't really they just stopped. They were coming in little trickles here and there, but that was it. And I was going through burnout. I was angry at God because I felt like you done took my business, my business. You took my business. And if it wasn't you that took it, so many hands that were just unclean came in and just kind of derailed the business that I knew. And now I was looking at this rubble. And he had to keep reminding me, what rubble? You had all these awards, these accolades, all these things, but I was burnt out. My mother-in-law.
Weren't you like a top chef or something on one of these?
I was on the Food Network. I was on there twice. That he literally opened up those doors. I was on Food Network Stars, and I started on Cooks versus Cons. And from Cooks versus Cons, they were like, "You'd be great for Food Network Stars." And I was like burnt out, didn't know what the heck. And I was not my best on the show. And so here I am puzzling, just pondering over all of those things here in Atlanta. And then you came with this podcast, and I'm just like gonna just do what I always do, right? Give my testimony, talk about what God had done, la la. And everyone kept talking to me about rest. And I was so angry when they would talk to me about rest, because I was like, rest? No, I need to keep moving and keep grinding and do until what I think my life should be came to way. And that was clearly so not the plan. And it really came to a head here at the podcast. I was like, what? Oh,
I love how God moves.
I'm going to tell you, it took me a minute. I was ready for the book, got to chapter 2 and was like, wait, what? Then anger came again. And while anger is there, I'm telling everybody, y'all need to get this book. This is the best book ever. But I'm having a hard time doing the lessons, like sitting still.
Yes.
To suck it all in and just kind of like, okay, Lord, this is what we gonna do.
Do you remember what triggered you in chapter 2?
What triggered me? Let me see.
You're like, I got it right here. I'm gonna find out.
Oh, yeah. Well, it said, it was are you tired, worn out, burnt out on religion? It was that scripture.
Yes, Matthew 11. 28. Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't you, because you're right. You hear that scripture all the time, but not in that context. And I was like, yes, I'm worn out and burnt out. Yes, I'm so tired. Okay. And it was like, this peace came and it was like, okay, Samone, now do you get it? And I was saying out of my mouth, yes, but my spirit still wasn't quite there yet until it was a part. There's a story in here of a girl who was a baker, and God had given her this business. And it brought me to tears because I felt that's what he did for me when I was in Orlando. That
yes.
I'm reading her story and I'm like, whoa, this is, and I'm looking at it, this is what happened to me, God. But why did it go? Why did it leave? And what was coming to me was that we lost focus.
Mm.
We lost focus and allowed other people's opinions, other people's vision for our business to what they thought the catering company should look like. We knew we were a Christian company, and that literally God we never had to interview. We would send out these things and people would literally come to the door, or if we had to do an interview, that person that we brought on other people. So we never had to, we didn't have to do this whole call of, we're hiring so-and-so. They came through the door. And reading her story, I kept asking the Lord, what did I do wrong? Where did I mess up? And he was beginning to speak to me about the negativity that Orlando, the imprint that it left on me, that I kept seeing it as a negative. I didn't see it that he tore it down so he can build it back up.
So good.
To what he wanted it to look like. And that includes.
Can I take you a step back for a second, just for clarity's sake? So what I'm hearing you say is that there was a whole lot of divine orchestration from God for your business in the first place. And so it was growing and things were moving and all of that. And it seemed like you had this successful catering business, but things started to crumble apart a bit. Mm-hmm. And you were working extraordinarily hard.
Oh God, so hard. So hard to where my marriage, we separated twice. and almost didn't make it the last time.
Wow.
Yeah, because we were on separate. My husband had his own dreams, but my catering company, it started out as a personal chef company, just a small little thing that turned into the big beast. It turned into a beast, and my husband had a hard time. Like, why do I got to carry this? What about my dreams? What about my stuff? He didn't realize that God was giving him all of that through the catering company. And
Right.
I couldn't see, like, well, why do you want to tell me what to do? This is my business. This is mine. It was all my's, and I, but never God, never we, never ours. And God had to tear that whole foundation down. And it was the painfulest thing ever to endure.
Wow.
I realized from your book, I had 2 deaths. I had my mother-in-law's and the death of wishful concepts. I buried my mother-in-law on a Thursday and wishful concepts on a Saturday. My whole office, everything. And I remember sitting there crying because I remember the walls that we put up, all of my staff coming in to help us paint. And it was just being torn down.
But he birthed something new.
Wow. Yeah, he really, and he was so adamant about it to where we were bringing wishful concepts in. Someone had told me when we were in Orlando, you may need to look at a name change. And I said, why? No one knows wishful concepts. We have all these awards under wishful concepts. And it took your book, having this dream, and he was like, you need to change the name. And you already know the name. And he'd given it to me. He was like, it's going to be Red Door. And I was like, well, why? I've been with this lady, my wishful concepts lady, since it's evolved. You're no longer that person. You'll no longer work the way that you've been working. You're more than just a chef. I didn't call you just to be a chef. Remember that. I called you to the nations. And your food touches many people, not just, in events, and you can kind of just go on your way. And so I had a hard time with that because, well, what else? I went to culinary school. I didn't go. I went to I had little sessions in theology school, but I didn't feel like that was my calling, that this was it. And so he had to teach me. He's been teaching me. Chef is a title. It is not who you are. You're bigger than that. You're more than that. And I realized that he began to speak to me. He started showing me my own visions about my venue space, that you want to step away from the kitchen. You don't want to stay as the head chef in that kitchen. You want streams of income. Isn't that what you asked for? Well, you can't travel. You can't be in all these places at one time. So I have to show you how to now lead. And that's where I am.
Okay, you have to tell the story you told me before we press record. You got to tell everyone the story about what happened with the whole name change. Because, you were supposed to make this name change. You were hesitating. Tell them the story because I thought it was so funny.
Oh, my God. So just today, I went to the bank. I went to the bank to get just an ATM card, temporary ATM card, because I just was tired of transferring. And so today I got the card, the real, the regular card. And it's wishful something. It was all jacked up. And my husband was like, see, because you're supposed to went into the bank and changed out all of wishful concepts. It's not supposed to be wishful concepts. Going to just the name change itself and me arguing with the Lord, like, I haven't gotten my license for wishful concepts. It took forever for it to come. And I kept calling. I was supposed to get it, like, they were supposed to send it by June. I applied in January. We're in July. Mm-hmm. I still have no license for wishful concepts. So I finally go to the office and I'm like, okay, Lord, it's Red Door. Red Door what? Red Door catering events. I mean, what are we doing here? And I don't hear anything. It's just crickets. And so I get downtown to the license place. And when I had to go get the license for Wishful Concepts, it took me an hour at least. I had to renew parking because it took just that long to get the license. It took 5 minutes. 5 minutes to get the Red Door. And I remember the lady saying, oh, and I'm going to also give you your license. So I got my name changed and my license at the same time.
With the new name. What took 7 months of a delay that never even came to fruition. 7-month delay with the old name that the Lord had already told you was not your name anymore. Took 5 minutes for you to get the new name. And then what door got open for the Red Door?
Lord, I got a movie contract for close to $42,000.
Come on.
The largest account. It's the largest amount we've ever received to date in my 16 years of business. And when it came, my mom had been saying to me, Samone, I see that you've been turning down all these jobs. And I was, because I was like, where am I going to do this? And how am I going to do this? And when it came, I knew it was mine. The Lord was like, this is yours. Even with all of the things that were going on, this is yours. And it started out even higher than that. And then it dropped down. And what I had in the middle of that, I was supposed to be doing an event with James Beard. And then my mom, all of a sudden, she told me about this surgery. So all of this stuff is coming in the midst of this humongous contract. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? And so I had to partner with other people and collaborate with them. And by doing that, the Lord was like, this is what I meant when I said your business it's not going to look like what you had previously. You're going to learn the role of leadership. So I had to manage the people that was doing the food, my dessert ladies, my craft station, and the film crew. It's crazy. But my husband was like so proud. He was like, look at you. You did it. You were able to do all of that. You didn't lose your cool. You didn't cuss nobody out.
Right.
It was the best. And in spite of the fact that I got only 3 to 4 hours of sleep, it wasn't so strenuous to where I was like dead to the wall, because I'm now cooking, I'm having to clean, I'm having to all these moving pieces, and cook and clean and all that other stuff I didn't have to worry about that.
Yes.
So, oh man.
That's amazing. I'd never even heard of such thing like caterers for films. Like, so when you use like a film contract, it's like, I don't understand.
Me neither. When we moved to Atlanta, previously, the Lord had told me a while ago, years ago, I was watching Lord of the Rings, and he was like, I need you to stay for the credits. And I'm like, why? This isn't Marvel. There's nothing after this. There's nothing. And I didn't hear anything. So normally if I press and I hear crickets, I'm like, okay, let me just be quiet. When your mom just give you that look like, I'm going to need you to, that's what I feel God does to me. So I was sitting there looking at the credits, and all of a sudden I see Top Hat Catering, and I burst into tears. I knew immediately. And the Lord was like, this is where I'm taking your company. But I thought it was Wishful Concepts. I didn't know that I'd have to go through a cycle of changes and all of these tear up, break down, and this brokenness to get to where He's sending me.
Yes. So now what does it look? So now that you've read the book, you've meditated on these things, you've spent some time with the Lord on it, like how has this shifted kind of your everyday approach to how you work with Red Door events and catering?
I think when you say yes, things just begin to happen. They just happen. By me trying to find people to collaborate for my film stuff, I ran into a caterer, and we clicked immediately. Just loved her spirit, just loved her. And she says to me, you know, there's some buildings in the area. You should take a look at them. And the rent's not so bad. And I'm saying to myself, what? Because when I got my first building, I had a slew of clients and a slew of money. So it was a no-brainer. Okay, we running out of space. Let's move here. That is not the case. And God is saying, go. And I'm looking at him like, go where, do what? And so since this book, it's like there's a double portion that's coming that I feel like keeps coming. And my husband, it's been challenging him as well, because my husband's not used to being blessed. And God gives me this. Okay, that's great. I'm good. This is enough. But he doesn't know God as that overflowing.
The abundance, overflowing, exceeding right. Abundantly above.
Right. So he's just like, okay, that's it. We don't need any more. And God is like, no, but I'm not done. And so we've been in the process of looking for a house. And the house I wanted, I felt we needed a basement because I have so much commercial equipment. Where is it going? And the Lord was like, it's going into a building. I'm like, at the same time, we trying to get a house? Okay. So we're blown away right now. We don't even know what to do. We're just stunned. Like, what? And it's smooth. It's like, when it's not smooth, it's us. It's our emotions getting in the way. But if we just chill out and just stop, he's like, I already got this.
Yeah.
I need you to just sit still and ride the wave. And that, I don't think I know that side really.
You were just beginning a wild and crazy adventure.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't do nothing.
No, you'll be doing something.
You'll be doing something, but not like, no sleep, not eating properly, just health, going to the toilets. Now I can actually think.
Yes.
And I wasn't able to do that because so many things are going on. Like even since that one big event, we've had 3 more.
Come on.
Since then. And so it's like, chill out, just breathe and coast. Like even when I think, oh my God, this isn't going to work out, the people will call and be like, oh, the lunch has been changed to this time. You can come here at this time. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop tripping. I'm a really, I promise, pinky swear, I'm going to stop tripping.
That's so good. It's so funny because there's such a huge difference between how you used to work and how you work now. It feels like, well, gosh, I'm barely doing anything. I'm just here, And it's like you're still working, you're working diligently. It's just, you're realizing that you're not having to do it all in your own strength. And you're seeing how much greater that he's doing than what your input is.
It's crazy. From the whole stance of, okay, we don't have any real funds to get into these buildings. What do you mean? And because we've done the build out before, it's like, it's nothing to be afraid of or anything, but it's the mere fact of how, we need something, don't we, God? And he's like, you have something. I'm the something. And it's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. I thought my homelessness and him pulling me out of that was mind blowing, but this, I don't even know.
That's so good. I'm excited for you because this adventure is going to keep getting better.
It has to. It has to. It most definitely.
That's so good. Okay, so what are you most excited about with what you're doing right now?
Man, I'm excited to see the team that God puts together. I'm like, that's the dopest thing. To see you put my catering team together and the managers and all these moving pieces that will fill in the blanks to our processes and systems. you're going to pull in these people. I got a text from someone just yesterday that was like, I can't wait to come and work for you. And I'm like, what? She hasn't, I mean, we just moved here when I believe when we first worked with her. And I kept trying to remember her name, and out of the blue, she calls. And so I'm like, okay, God, wow.
Master orchestrator.
Yeah, I don't even know who. And it's like when you put your hands on it, he like smacks it off like,
It's like, I got that one. I got that one. You going over there.
Yeah. And we've had, yesterday was really rough. Day before was just rough emotionally, just certain things that we were just dealing with. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to trust you. I know I keep saying I'm going to trust you, and I don't really follow through. But if you can do all of these things in my business, this can surely apply to my personal life as well. And I'm just watching and waiting and seeing how this whole house and building is going to just come through.
Supernaturally.
Yeah, I mean, really and truly.
That's so good. And I love how he just really expanded you in terms of, you're thinking, I'm chef and I'm operating in this way. And he's like, no, I'm taking you further. The impact is broader. You're going to be reaching other places that you can't reach if you're just focused on, these four walls around you right here.
Right.
So good.
Right. And I thought, I was going hard. I was going to go hard. This is my career. Yes. And I could live without the knives. And it doesn't, and I had to meet someone. I went to a friend of mine's birthday party, and she had invited someone who was a chef, still is a chef, and had to step back. And she said some things that I had been thinking about. She just put it to life for me. And I was like, and my husband was kicking me under the table like, see, this is what God wants you to do. And so this is a whole new role.
It's good.
Whole new role.
I love it. I'm excited for you. I appreciate you sharing this journey with us. It's really only begun. It's like 2.0 now.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, this book. When I was like, the questions that you asked, even in the journal part where it was like, ask the Lord if you're in alignment. Oh, dang. Ooh. Okay, so am I in alignment? And he was like, you're in alignment, but your flesh gets in the way because you want to still rule. And I need you to step away from that. I need you to come out of fear, because fear is a spirit. And I need you to trust in the process and trust that I have all of this. I have all of this. None of even to where like my dreams for my family life. And he's like, I got that too. And he confirms through my husband, because sometimes I'm just like, I'm scared to pray sometimes. And I have to come out of that because I know he has my best interest. I know when he says what he says, he means it.
Yeah.
And it'll happen. So this book is and then you blew us out with the whole, you got a Grace Over Grind class. I said, oh God, I need to sign it because I need to have, because you get on this high. It took me months to read this little bitty book.
Yes.
Not something that you can just like breeze through. You really have to sit back and think about who you are to God, who you are as an entrepreneur. What does entrepreneurship mean to you? And what does God say it looks like for him? Because we're king's kids.
Yep.
And our kingdom, if we're part of his kingdom, we cannot be small-minded. And we can't think of this small scale business because there's many people he wants us to reach, and we can't do that on a small scale. Yeah. So this thing wow. When I saw the class, I was like, oh, I got to take this because I need accountability. I can't be falling off the wagon.
Yes, that's so good. I'm really excited for you, Samone. I'll call you Chef Samone now. I called you Samone Lett at the front end. So we could focus on the greater identity of Samone than just the chef part of you. But Chef Samone, this has been so good. If people want to like go to your website, get more information about your work, where do they go?
So the website is chefsamone.com, www.chefsamone.com. We're in the process of finishing up Red Door's site. So everything is still under Chef Samone, which is my personal chef services, but it also talks about there's information still there on the catering and film services and private events.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining me today.
This was so amazing. Thank you. Thank you for this book. This seed that is, a big tree is coming forth.
Amen. I absolutely loved that raw conversation with Chef Samone. What you don't know is that a few months after the conversation that you just heard, Samone joined our Igniters mentoring program, the Igniters mentoring experience, I like to call it, so that she could receive the mentoring and support and the family as she embraced what God has for her in the marketplace, and so that she could continue to grow and working in his rest and by the power of his grace and his favor. I asked her about what she's been experiencing as she's been partnering with God in business. And she admits that she's still working on being more actively aware about engaging God in the operations of her business, but she is already seeing the fruit of making the shift. She told me a story about how earlier this year she secured catering contracts with. She told me a story about how earlier this year she told me a story about how earlier this year she secured contracts with Facebook and an NFL player completely led by the Holy Spirit. No marketing, no social media posting regarding her business. She said that her peers were getting on her case about her lack of sharing about her business, and understandably so, because marketing is such a key element to growing a business. So I want to be clear, I'm not at all suggesting that you don't market your products and services, but when the Holy Spirit leads you to do something different, you go with his lead. If God's instructing you to do something different, it's an invitation that you want to say yes to, because it's an invitation to exchange your thoughts for his higher thoughts, to exchange your ways for his higher way, to exchange your plan for his higher plan. I often talk about how God is our chief anything officer. And in Simone's case, she got to see him be her marketer and her sales rep. How many times do we miss out on seeing the goodness of God at work because we try to do everything in our own strength? As Samone yielded her plans to God and she inclined her ear to hear his voice and respond to his leading, she saw the fruit. Yes, the financial fruit of doing so. One of the things she shared with me is that she had a sales goal this February of $12,000 in revenue, but thanks to seeking God and following his lead, she ended up with $24,000 in sales. So to be clear, working by the power of God's grace instead of your own grind is not only about growth and profitability, but about experiencing his best in your business and having a greater kingdom impact through the work that you do. It's about revealing his glory in the marketplace in your sphere of influence. Now, I wanted to do something special, put together something special for those of you who really want to go deeper into doing business by the infinite power of God's grace. So between now and May 2nd, you can get our full Grace Over Grind bundle. We've actually never done this before. So our first time ever Grace Over Grind bundle. This is where you will get our full Grace Over Grind e-course. You'll get the Grace Over Grind ebook, the Grace Over Grind audiobook, as well as the companion journal for the book, all for $65. That's a savings of over $100. You can get the details and purchase the bundle over on our website at kingdomdrivenentrepreneur.com/bundle. No matter what is going on in the world, God is still here. God is still present. God is still with you in business. And I just want to encourage you to continue to lean into God in this season and partner with him in every area of your life, including your business. So again, head over to kingdomdrivenentrepreneur.com/bundle if you want to take advantage of our Grace Over Grind bundle. So that's it for today's episode. We look forward to talking to you more next week. God bless.
Thanks for joining us on the Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, we encourage you to subscribe and spread the word. And don't forget, you can gain access to even more resources, plus a thriving community of fire starters by visiting our website at kingdomdrivenentrepreneur.com.